What's the most fucked up thing that you have ever done? Warning, some audiences may find this content disturbing. View at your own discretion. Welcome to the House of Reddit. Today, we share some r/AskReddit posts from Reddit. What's the most fucked up thing that you have ever done? I destroyed a Denny's bathroom once. I had explosive diarrhea Perlman, and about 90 seconds to do something about it. You know when you have those sharp stabbing pains in your poop tube, combined with that pressure that is making you gym sweaty with effort holding it back. So I ran in there, and they told me it's only for customers. So I got a table, ordered a strawberry smoothie and a coffee all hot and sweaty, and as soon as the order-taking person turned around I ran to the bathroom. I filled that thing up to the brim. And I mean that, this foul mound was almost touching my wobbling strained cheeks by the time I was done. And of course it didn't flush. I tried to cover it with toilet paper like icing on the worst chocolate lava cake of all time, but you can only do so much. I washed up, speed walked out of there, chugged up that smoothie, left cash on the table and ran in a walking fashion out of there. It's the closest Denny's to where I live, but 5 years later I've never been back. Someone might recognize me. I did this in an ice cream shop. They were closing, they had already cleaned the bathroom. There was even a broom in the door like a sign of do not enter. Here we have the normal toilets and some literally shitholes where you need to bend the knees and just poop, like in traditional Japanese anime bathroom scenes. They had that kind of bathrooms. I had so much gas that the pressure make the diarrhea fly into the wall. I literally shit in a recently cleaned wall. I hadn't the nerve to look back to see the mess I made, but I can imagine the horror. I just cleaned my relieved butthole and run away from that cursed place. My cousin was waiting for me with an ice cream cone. That was nice. I wouldn't be surprised if the manager hanged a picture of me in the entrance door denying me the entrance after that. I had a friend who used to dine and dash all the time. He once made my mom come pick him up from his house, 20-minute drive, bring him back to ours, eat dinner, and the second he finished dinner his ride pulled up and he left. He wouldn't even clean up his plate or anything, just ate and left. My mom was livid with him. So after that, when he came over again and tried to pull that same thing, and my mom said, "I'm not feeding you. If you're hungry you can leave and go get your own food. I'm not cooking for you." And he got all mad and called my mom rude for not giving him food, and she snapped and said, "No, rude is making someone pick you up, eat their food and leave the second you're done. I am not a restaurant." I was a kid, in the 3rd grade I believe. Well, we had this bookshelf with all sorts of books that our classmates were allowed to borrow as we pleased. One day in particular, a book that the teacher was looking for had been missing, so she asked all of us where this book had went, not sure why it was such a big deal looking back, but it was for whatever reason. So she then made us all search for the book in the classroom. Checking backpacks, shelves, and of course our own desks. We're all looking and whatnot, and I'm digging around my own messy desk, as I would assume most of my classmates were at the time, and I didn't see anything out of the ordinary. My deskmate next to me was doing the same, more in her in a bit. Well, after even more digging I found that fucking book in my desk. I was scared shitless that I was now the guilty bad kid who had this golden book the entire time. Know what I did? I grabbed it and chucked the fucking book into my deskmate's desk. Super fucked up, I know. I guess I was so used to being seen as a good kid that I could not fathom being the one that stole the book from class. Well, my classmate saw what I did and then threw the book back on top of my desk. The teacher notices that and comes right over to us. I panic. He threw the book in my desk. My classmate yells out, "No, I didn't." I respond with a look of terror on my face. Well, the teacher took my side and pretty much berated the girl I set up. It didn't help that this girl had some frequent behavioral issues, but she ended up not liking me for the rest of the year, and deservingly so. Every once in a blue moon I think about how fucked up that was of me and how I got her in trouble. I know I was just a child, but I think I learned about having guilt after doing that. I'm not proud of this, but I stopped talking to a girl I was interested in because of her home life. We were getting to know each other, and I was invited over. Drove over there and her house was absolutely filthy. Didn't see any roaches, but wouldn't be surprised if I saw one. I stayed there for most of the day hanging out and talking, but in the back of my mind I couldn't wait to get out of there. She was living with a friend's family of anywhere between 7 to 9 kids, because she was having drama with her own family. The house reeked of animal urine and there was just trash everywhere. The carpets felt sticky/tacky. I was just plain uncomfortable. After the day was over, I went home and practically burned my skin off in the shower. I don't know what it was, but going there gave me so much anxiety I didn't know how to deal with it, so I just ghosted her. Don't even remember her name anymore. I felt like such a piece of shit typing that out. Dude, don't feel bad about this at all. I had something similar happen. Had been dating this girl for a couple of months and her family lived several provinces away, so we had never met. They lived in a little oceanside town, so she made it sound like a nice vacation. It was the worst fucking week of my life. I met her dad, sister, brother-in-law, and several aunts. Dad was a reformed alcoholic who had found Jesus while on a PCP trip, sister was unemployed and lazy, brother-in-law cleaned chicken shit at a local barn and was a bigoted asshole. The aunts did not stop sexually harassing me and making inappropriate comments the entire time. The house hadn't been cleaned or maintained in over a decade. The whole top floor was a hoarder den, though the main floor was covered in a thick layer of filth. Out of everyone there, I was the only one with a consistent job and knew if we stayed together these people would end up being our responsibility to take care of, she said as much. Had we driven there and not flown, I would have bailed after the first day. My friend and I played Pooh Dollar one Saturday evening on campus in college. Now the traditional way of playing Pooh Dollar is to simply put a piece of poo and smash it into a crumbled up dollar bill, and when someone finds it in excitement, they get poo on their hands. It's evil already by itself. However, a third wanted to join in on the fun, and he's a huge Star Wars fan. He had a huge wad of fake $10 dollar bills with Jar Jar Binks' face on it. He won them as a kid at Chuck E. Cheese. He said each bill was 5 tickets each, and bought a wad with the 100 tickets he won. He told himself as a kid that these would come in handy one day. Now mind you, these looked identical to a $10 bill, except substitute good old Alex Hamilton for Jar Jar fucking Binks. So this means that people would pick up this seemingly fake $10 bill in excitement, find poo on their hands, but find consolation in that it's still a $10 bill. But nope, we even took the consolation away. It was a fake Jar Jar Binks $10 bill and you have poo on your hands. When I was in preschool, my mom always packed McDonald's chicken nuggets for me to snack on. I was only allowed to eat them after school was over though, so I couldn't just eat them in class. On Halloween of that year, I wore a onesie devil costume to school, and when class was almost over, I started to get really stressed out because of the devil onesie I was wearing. I don't remember my thought process at the time, but I think that the costume was really hot, which was what caused me to get stressed out. I started crying, and to cope, I brought my chicken nuggets out of my cubby in class to eat. It was at that time where the whole class was sitting down to listen to our teacher read to us, so I had to bring my chicken nuggets with me and sit down on the floor with the rest of the class. I ate my chicken nuggets while crying my eyes out, and there was this one kid sitting next to me. His name was Karam, and there was always something off about him. He was really quiet, and literally never spoke. I've never heard him say anything in my life. He grabbed my chicken nuggets and started to eat them. This freaked me out, and upset the hell out of me, because they were my nuggets and he was stealing them. I screamed, and out of natural instinct, I plunged my hands into his mouth, ripped out the chewed chicken nuggets, and put them into my mouth. I did this repeatedly, and kept ripping out anything remnant of my chicken nuggets from his mouth just so I could have them. There was tons of chaos in the classroom and my teacher had to break everything up. Karam is the only kid in that class whose name I can remember to this day. When I was a kid we had a sandbox and a swing set with 3 swings. The sandbox had become a latrine for our 5 cats. When the 2 neighbor kids came over to play with me and my sister, that meant that we were 1 swing short. I forget who did it first, but someone who was tired of waiting for a turn on the swings took a leaf and used it to pick up a cat turd out of the sandbox. They threw it at one of the kids on one of the swings and hit them with it. The infuriated swinger leapt off the swing and chased the turd thrower all over our large yard. The thrower managed to evade the swinger, returned to the swing set, and claimed the empty swing. We all looked at each other and realized that the greatest game ever had just been invented. We played shit fight relentlessly for days, removing all of the cat droppings from sandbox. This shortage of shit led to preemptive claiming of potential shit deposits from the various cats by name. Eventually someone defied the protocols on the fecal option process, leading to the need for outside arbitration. It went like this: Mrs. Pete 1729, I claimed dibs on fluffy shit but Dale took it. My mom, once fully informed of the game and its rules, put an immediate stop to shit fight in a very emphatic way. For about a year I had a job delivering pets to pet stores like fish, rodents, snakes, birds, etc. It was a shit job and it was terrible for the animals. One of my routes had me driving 5 hours south of my home city and spending 2 or 3 days driving in the southern part of my state into another state. I'd leave at like 11 p.m. and end up in a parking lot of a mall where my first stop was early the next morning. Take a quick nap, drop off some animals, then make my way to other stores in the region. One morning I was chugging along down the highway to my first stop, It was about 4:30 a.m. and my stomach started playing some loud jazz and my butthole had its own trumpet solo. I jumped off the highway and drove my truck to the nearest gas station to unleash hell on a toilet. I run in, drop tro, and spray shit in the bowl. Double flusher. Don't know what hit me, but it was bad. I finish up and go to wipe, but there is no toilet paper or hand towels to be found anywhere in the bathroom. I try yelling for help, but it's the middle of the night and the bathroom wasn't attached to the main gas station, but it was part of the now closed self-car wash. I took off my work boots and wiped my ass with my socks. The worst thing I ever did, and I now, over 15 years later, feel terrible for this, but I was so fucking mad that I took one of my poop-filled socks and I stuck it to the mirror before walking out and returning the key to the attendant, who I told, "I think you're out of TP." I was 8 and had this friend in elementary school that had a crush on a girl from our class. The girl, of course, liked another guy and they wounded up dating, if you could even call it that way when you're an 8-year-old. So, I felt kinda sorry for the friend and I asked him how I could be of help to him, and he replied he wanted a revenge. Since that was around the time when I discovered porn, the nastiest revenge I could have come up with was drawing a porn comic book, some 20 pages long, so I decided to take an afternoon to draw the thing. I gave my friend the comic book when I finished, and he took it home. The next day, he brought it into the school and passed it around the class, without my knowledge, and this one kid thought it'd be obligatory to give our class teacher that comic book. Needless to say, the teacher got terribly upset and asked me to call my parents to school. I didn't say anything for like a month or so, but I had to. Got scolded hard, but now when I think of it, I am so grateful that the teacher didn't call social services on my family, since well, it's a kind of thing you really should be calling social services for. But, honestly, I'm quite proud of it. I mean, not many people can say they drew a porn comic book when they were 8. I had a period of my life where I whored like a lot. In this time I was seeing 2 guys at the same time. In one occasion I give a oral to one of them and let him come in my boobs, then, out of nowhere this other dude tells me is coming down to my house. So I rushed the first one out of there, but didn't have time to clean myself, so when this other dude arrives, I still had plenty of the other, on me. Anyway, we start making out and stuff, as I was too damn lost in lust to care about, so when I felt his tongue driven from my neck to my boobs, nothing clicked. Until he threw his head up and said that my boobs tasted weird. Oh Lord, I can't express how bad I felt about it, just told him I have been working out and was sweating, we headed to the shower, and cleaned myself properly. That day will go to eternity as the day I made a dude taste the little guys of other dude. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you have any suggestions for future videos, please let us know in the comments below. Turn on the notifications to know when we post new videos. Thank you for coming to the House of Reddit.